going to share a little bit with you about what's going on with the coronavirus as it applies to the LSAT and law school admissions process this cycle. As we currently stand towards the end of March, LSAC has not yet canceled the April LSAT, although I expect them to do so in the very near future. They said that they will decide by April 10th whether they will go ahead with the April LSAT or not. I expect that they will almost certainly cancel it, given that especially the virus is expected to peak in mid-April. What they did for the March LSAT was they automatically registered everybody for the April LSAT. And for the April LSAT, maybe they'll do the same going forward for June. It's hard to say. We'll see what happens. But if you are planning to take the LSAT in April or possibly June, and you want to take it sooner rather than later, I would suggest that you switch your registration now, as soon as possible, for the best possible test center. Because once they cancel April and they re-register everyone for June, whether they do or not, test centers are going to be booked up, and you're going to have a hard time finding the most conveniently located central testing centers. Of course, June might be canceled also. We really don't know. Nobody really knows how the pandemic will progress over the next couple of months. We'll see what happens. But the good news is they are letting you change your test registration without any fees associated because, of course, this is a crisis. It's not anyone's personal fault here. So LSAC did indicate ambiguity. They said that they're hopeful about April and June going forward. So we'll see what happens. LSAC has also announced that they are aggressively exploring remote testing, which I interpret to mean administering the LSAT online, which would certainly be unprecedented for them to do. But they're getting creative out of necessity here. So they might administer it online. They might do smaller, more frequent administrations. So they're just experimenting right now. We'll see what happens. They're also getting creative in that they are considering allowing applicants to apply with canceled or expired scores. Most likely, this would only apply for those who have no score on record or no reasonably good score. And as far as what good constitutes, that's really open to LSAC's interpretation. But they don't want this to be a barrier to anybody applying to law school. And so if you have no good score on record or no current score, because scores are good for 5 years, after that they are expired, then they may give you some flexibility with regard to using some old or expired scores. Again, this is all in flux. Nothing is certain. We'll see what happens. And for this group that doesn't have any valid scores, they might do that pilot testing for the online administrations or the smaller, more frequent administrations to see how that works out. Is LSAC able to do tons of small administrations around the country or around the world? Are they able to administer it online without cheating and without tech issues? Lots of unknowns. Nobody really knows what's going to happen, but LSAC does not want this to be a big issue for applicants or for law schools for this cycle or for next cycle. So they're really pulling out all the stops, and I think they're doing everything they can. They're also, on that front, they are working with law schools to extend deadlines for this cycle because they know that many people were counting on taking the March LSAT or the April LSAT and even the June LSAT for this cycle that's finishing up now. And law schools are going to be hurting for applicants relative to how they would otherwise be doing. And of course, applicants are also hurting for applying with another LSAT score. So LSAC is working with those schools. They're doing everything they can, but law school deadlines vary from school to school. So if you're wondering, are schools extending deadlines? Some will, some won't. I think more and more will with time, especially once the April LSAT is canceled, which again, I think it will be, although it hasn't been yet. And so if you want to know, contact each school and ask for details. Lots of unknowns here. Again, no one really knows how the coronavirus will progress. LSAC is kind of following along with the rest of us, and they're not making any specific promises. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay home, and hopefully this thing will pass sooner rather than later. And if you are quarantined, if you are at home, then really try to make the most of this time. Work on your LSAT, work on your applications. Try not to follow the news too obsessively. I know it's really tough. I'm checking the news multiple times a day, especially being in New York City, which is the epicenter right now. But try to limit it. You don't need you don't need hourly updates on this. The world's not going to end within the next hour. Maybe limit it to once in the morning, once in the evening, or once every 4 hours. But have some constraint on yourself that you set out in advance so that you're able to be productive in the meantime and focus on whatever your goals are in the moment. So try to say, I'm going to study for the LSAT for 3 hours, or I'll do one practice test. Then and only then will I look at the news. And also try to get support from friends and family, whoever you are quarantined with, to give you the space and give you the time to study. I know it's really tough to study with all the distractions of not only the news and social media and email, but also the people you're quarantined with at the moment. If you are in fact quarantined, you're staying home, which really I think you should be. Get buy-in from them, have them support you, and make agreements with them that you'll leave them alone for X period of time. They'll leave you alone for Y period of time so that you can get something done. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll keep in touch with you as I find out more as this thing progresses. In the meantime, everyone, again, stay safe, stay home, and I'll be in touch. All the best, everyone. And thanks once again for joining and for your great questions. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.